Hello, and welcome. Today the subject we're going to dig into deeply with you is serendipity. We looked over the material you sent us, Part 1 Understanding Serendipity, and we want to really get to the bottom of why this means so much more than simple luck, where its roots lie, and what it means for us today. So shall we get started? Usually when people hear the word serendipity, they say something like, it's the power to turn chance into success, right? Well, it turns out that this word was actually coined in the 18th century by an Englishman named Horace Walpole, who drew his inspiration from a Persian fable, The Three Princes of Serendip. The princes, with their remarkably keen powers of observation, would happen to discover certain facts they weren't even looking for, things like noticing that a lost camel was blind in one eye. Yes, exactly. But here's what's interesting. Why does this matter to us now? Well, we live in a world where rationality and thorough planning are held up as the highest values these days. And in a society like that, serendipity makes us look again at the value of chance, its creative power, which is so easy for us to overlook. Especially things like intuition, those flashes of insight that reason alone can't quite explain, or the hidden possibility tucked away inside an unexpected mistake or failure. Take the game Angry Birds. They say it only succeeded after 50 failures. And a company like Uniqlo emphasizes what it calls a 1 win, 9 losses philosophy, meaning it's fine to fail 9 times as long as you succeed just once. 1 win and 9 losses. So they treat failure as a given, then? That's right. But the key point here is that serendipity isn't telling you to just accept these seemingly irrational things as fate. Rather, it's talking about how to capture and make use of them in a rational way, that is, with a prepared mind. So even if you're not some great genius, it can open the door to success for ordinary people like us who simply work hard and steadily. I think that's where its real significance lies. So it's not luck that you just sit around waiting for, but more like an opportunity you run into in the middle of preparing and working at something. Wow, hearing that, it really is fascinating. The discovery of penicillin was like that too, wasn't it? Fleming came back from vacation and looked at his culture dish and saw blue mold growing, but instead of just brushing it aside, he wondered, why are there no bacteria around here? It was possible precisely because he raised that question and observed carefully. Yes, exactly, that's the idea. And it's not just scientific discoveries like the X-ray or dynamite, but stories like the birth of Google or the inspiration behind Starbucks' founder are similar. And there's even a wine that became a huge hit after the grapes were accidentally left to over-ripen. That's Kendall Jackson, isn't it? Really, when you think about it, there are quite a lot of examples like this around us. Do you happen to have any similar experiences that come to mind? Yes, and the part to focus on here is contingency. As you said, this isn't that passive kind of chance where you just lie under a tree and wait for a persimmon to drop, like that old story about waiting by the stump for a rabbit. The one about waiting for the rabbit. Yes, exactly. It's fundamentally different from hoping for a windfall without any effort at all. Serendipity is a made chance that blossoms on the solid foundation of continuous effort and preparation, or it might be more accurate to call it an inevitable chance. Have you ever heard of Heinrich's Law? Heinrich's Law. Isn't that the one, 1 to 29 to 300, or something like that? Yes, that's right. It means that before one major accident happens, there were already 29 minor accidents and 300 warning signs, or hazards. In the same way, before a big success, there's a constant accumulation of countless small attempts, small failures, and the lessons learned from them. It's like painting in that final pupil of the eye on a dragon to bring the whole picture to life, the finishing touch. The final stroke. Yes. And just as water stays quiet up to 99 degrees and then boils the very moment it hits 100, at that critical point, at the decisive moment, all the effort and preparation you've built up meets chance and produces an explosive synergy. In the end, it's the same idea as the saying, heaven helps those who help themselves. I see. So to sum it up, serendipity is about not being swayed by step-by-step results, but taking a longer view and valuing the process itself, and the kind of structure that makes success possible. And rather than black and white, this or that logic, thinking flexibly, and treating even failure as, this is data too, while continuing to take on the challenge, and that itself is what matters. Precisely. So then, how might you make use of this serendipity in your own life? The most important thing is to keep observing your surroundings. Not just seeing the same old things the same old way, but having that open attitude of, hey, maybe this and that could connect somehow. And then, when you fail or end up on a path a little different from your plan, instead of, oh, I've blown it, asking, hey, what can I learn from this? And treating that as data for the next stage. That's the heart of it. And it's the same in education. Rather than just looking at the result of whether the answer was right or wrong, we should place more value on how many different ways the children try, and whether they throw out questions, even if they seem a bit off the wall. Because that's what leads to creative discovery. Wow, hearing all this, serendipity really isn't some kind of magic. It's not that luck just appears out of nowhere, but rather a capacity we can build and cultivate ourselves through preparing thoroughly, observing sharply, and having that active willingness to try connecting the unexpected. Yes, exactly. So then, let me leave you with one final question. If these chance discoveries only take on real meaning when they meet a prepared mind, could you try some very small change today, in your everyday habits of observation, or in the way you prepare for things? Perhaps that small change might just throw open the door to your next amazing discovery. And that's where we'll wrap up today's conversation. Thank you so much for joining us.